I'm actually gonna make this fast because I'm going to Greg's for coffee. Um, so I'm gonna do a quick update on the detox, and then I'm gonna do a reading from my book. So one of the things people don't realize, and this is like why else I'm definitely going to be pushing for a rehab place for pharmaceuticals here, and some other things too in the medical community, but that's a long talk and I don't have a lot of energy. But when you go through detox with a neurological condition, it stems, you're not having a great time, right? But you'll spend like 80% of that day in really, really bad Tourette's, and Tourette's with almost every seizure. And people think of those as like the one-off, like yelling a curse or something, but what they don't realize is like it will be, 80-90% of the day that you're literally making really like loud sounds and steady sounds every single second for hours and hours and hours, sometimes like 4 hours straight, or and it flares up this so much if you think about, beatboxing sound, like all sorts of really loud, aggressive, fast, repeated sounds without breaks all day. It adds a ton of pain. So I want to come up with like a detoxing for people with neurological things, that they have some stuff lined up, that, Tourette's meds and different things, just that you could alleviate some of those things, right? So yesterday, I almost got myself stranded at the beach. And it was the grace of God that got me home, or it would have been, but I was on the beach then. The whole trail I just was throwing up nonstop, and then my whole body started going paralyzed. So when I say like we go paralyzed with FND, you go in and out of being paralyzed, and it could be any single second, any part of your body, any amount of your body parts. And they could last for hours or days or weeks or months or years the second it hits. But there's no anything, you're just fine 1 minute and then boom, paralyzed. You drop like a bag of potatoes, right? Or whatever part of you gets paralyzed, right? So I'm walking back from the beach, and I did almost the entire walk with my eyes closed, which I walk with my eyes closed a ton now. I get a ton of mini seizures that I've been able to work through, that actually when I close my eyes and focus on my breathing and stuff, because your eyes will be rolling back in your head, like convulsing, you'll feel them. So you just like close your eyes, and I'm able to count and actually walk through all the mini seizures. Those are constant, but yeah, so I got some systems that I want to push for in place, but I'm gonna read from the book and then I'm gonna go. And like the other thing too, as like you step into public and stuff, like God will give you his armor. I get bullied a lot and like picked apart a lot, and what you guys like don't see is I'll be getting messages from Messenger popping up on the top of my screen as I'm doing the videos of people insulting me, either physically, mentally, whatever, all sorts of things, right? And I've reached that dangerously awesome level of freedom that you talk to me for 10 seconds, you could pick apart a million things. So it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, but also it just is a reflection of the other person's brokenness, because good hearts don't bully people, so you can't really be offended. And that's just what I tell myself every time I'm bullied. I'm like, well, they have a dark heart. And that's it. But also, I'll be talking in the future about some stuff I'm pushing at the school, and all things like that too, as far as bullying goes. But there's a lot of stuff up and coming. Alright, September 13th. I'm gonna tell you a quick story about why you can't like just sit there and like be like, God, why? So yesterday, it was impossible to do anything, right? I was mostly paralyzed and in the Tourette's and nonstop seizures, like, for most of all of it. So I got an alert from the school that said it was the homecoming parade. So I was literally hysterically crying to God, like, why would you do this in the first parade? Why? You know, to the point I almost emailed my pastor, like, well, how could God do this? Like, I don't even understand. Or like, you just ask him, like, hey, you know, it's the first parade. I was like devastated. I was just bawling and bawling over it, right? And after a lot of time, I was just like, no. Like, I'm just gonna watch from the car. So Mom and Pam were gonna lug me into the car, and I was just like, I'm still gonna see it. It doesn't matter, you know? And then, all that, and me, like, asking God, like, so upset that whole day, like, cried out to him, like, how could you do this to me, you know? Dante ended up not being in the parade, and he was going to watch because he hurt his ankle and he wanted to rest it because they have a game on the 17th, so he's like, oh, I'm not gonna go in that one. I'm like, what the... I didn't tell him, you know, but so, you know, that goes back to just trusting God with everything. You know, I was sitting there like all day and he's probably like, Ashley, just stop crying already. You know, he's not even going to be in the parade, you know. So you really do have to trust everything, you know, and it was silly for me to think God would have let me miss the first parade and all, but I was a wreck over it, right? Instead of just being like, no, God's gonna make me better for it, or, you know, hey, my son's not actually gonna be in it, which I did not see that coming. But he went and it was still like dressed up in his jersey and stuff, but just watching, not walking in it. So I felt a lot better, but they had an awesome night. But yeah, so keep trusting God. You could still cry out to him, like, why, God? But at the same time, you could be like in the back of your head, like, oh, you know, like, God loves me, and I shouldn't just instantly be like, how are you doing this to me? But in my defense, I was overly emotional, really tired, in a ton of pain. But to be completely honest, even if I was completely healthy and then something happened for you, missed that, I would have had the same reaction. So I can't actually blame it on all those things, although they're contributing factors, but I would have been the exact same way if I wasn't detoxing right. So just keep trusting God, because that was a lot of hours weeping at God that could have been spent productive and trusting him and just building my faith, like, all right, God, you got this, you know. But lesson learned. Till next time, right? Always bounding. We'll get this out. I know that at times you grow weary in your work. You want to put me and my purposes first, but things don't always go the way you planned. You're consumed with providing for yourself instead of allowing me to do so. I want you to stop trying and start trusting. When you're walking in my will, often doing so without immediate reward, I know you question whether or not it's all worth it, and if you're doing what really makes a difference. But I've promised that your work will be rewarded, and I keep all of my promises. I promise you that your labor is not in vain. I'm using your calling to draw you near to me and to teach you to trust me. Plant the seeds of the gospel with you all and say and do. Sorry, I'm butchering this. I'm going to try that line again, because plant the seeds of the gospel with all you say and do, and I'll take care of the rest. Don't give up when you grow weary. Press through and press on, and know that in due season you will reap a harvest if you do not lose heart. When you're weak, rely on me for your strength. I will carry you when you're too weak to carry on. I will fill you with hope when all hope seems gone. I will give you peace in the midst of chaos. My grace will abound always. As for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. That's 2 Corinthians 15:7. Yeah, so full disclosure, yesterday and today, I did take some pills to help me get through this detox. Not what I'm detoxing from, but other things I'm prescribed. There was just literally no way. It got so bad yesterday that I was like, nope, I can't do this no more. I hit my breaking point, and I just needed a couple days of a little bit of a little break on my body. It was getting just again, just the paralysis, the trance, the seizures, just a million other things I'm not going to get into, but yeah, they need something in place, so I'm going to keep pushing for that, and then I'm going to share with you guys what I find out and what treatments and stuff, I don't know, how to be like proactive instead of reactive, because most of us are still waiting on neurologists and have years waits, and your doctors don't know what's going on with nothing. I shouldn't say that. I found a doctor who's wonderful, that I absolutely love. I've seen him once. I'll see him again, like, I don't know, I think it's next week or this week. I have no idea. I'm still working on regaining some of my cognitive abilities, and that one's not there yet. But there's my cat. She's been just like snuggling up with me a lot, and when I was having the seizures, she just kept like swatting me, thinking I was playing, and like I was like, Dad! I kept trying to push her off, and I was rolling, and she'd like roll on me and be all jumbled everywhere. So I don't like her snuggling during my seizures. It gets super annoying. She doesn't know what to make of it, but today I'm excited for. I get to see Linda, and I get to go see Greg, and I get to leave bed, and honestly, it's only because I took stuff yesterday and today. If I didn't, I would be 100% bedridden, 100%, and unable to speak. And it was nice too, like I was walking back from the beach, and I had multiple people stop to ask me if I need help and stuff. But the fun part about when you start going into body paralysis is you also lose the ability to speak. So I was in a very stuttering way, just like neurological, bye, but you can't explain anything, you can't talk, I was like thinking the other day, like I need like a cat leash collar that just says my name, my number, and where to return me, like lost to found, because even when I go on the dementia, I won't remember where I live, who I live with, anything, so it's like just crazy. I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, dementia. That's ironic. But, yeah, so, and then there's also, like, the times I can't speak to get a single sentence out, or it's just, like, full-out Tourette's, or times, like, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get picked up from the cops, because I'm, like, swaying all over. I probably look like I'm on all sorts of drugs, and I can't be like, no, I am on all sorts of drugs, but they're pharmaceutical, and I'm detoxing. I can't say anything. So I'm like, man, one of these days they're gonna throw me in the loony bin thing, and that's been one of Mom's fears too, is me just randomly getting picked up, because I'll have no ID, no way to speak. Then if I have any release of any emotion because I'm getting nervous or trying, to get my point across, or not taken to, a nut house or a freaking hospital or wherever. So I was thinking about that. I might just get a little index card that has like a few things on it, like that I could just hand someone, right, if I'm all going paralyzed and unable to speak in public, because it happens any single second, and that's just with this disease. Detox intensifies it, but so when they're like, oh, you have chronic illness with this thing, and you're like, what? I'm gonna spend forever going paralyzed and stuff. That is a huge hindrance. No, thank you. So I'm gonna get better right away, but not in detox. I go through way less symptoms now. God's healed me like a tremendous amount. But yeah, I feel really good today. Just, getting that break from those harder days. And I don't know. I'm gonna go. I probably won't do a walk today. So I'm so freaking stubborn. Even knowing like how I'm in complete flare up and all this and that. So last night, there was like a moment that I stood up, and Adam obviously knows me the closest and sees my health the most, and I was like, gonna take a walk. I didn't say it because I could barely speak, but I was like, walk, and he's like, no, the hell you're not. He didn't say that. He doesn't even curse. He's like, yeah, no, you're literally not going anywhere. So I was like, oh, fine, but I was just like, man, I need to get some exercise. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But yeah, there would have been a problem if I left the house. And so yeah, I need like a little cat collar thing. I'm just gonna keep it in my pocket. Like, have Adam's phone number, Mom's. All right, gotta go.